Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway for round 18 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship here on BSR TV. As usual, me, Chris Cohen, in the commentary box, and joined this week by Rob Burton. Rob, what a race in race 17. Looking forward to 18 even more.
Yeah, what a great race that was. A lot of battles going on at the front and down the field, and just waiting for more to come in this final race of the round.
Another 13 laps round Charlotte Motor Speedway, the road course, don't forget, and the darkness has fallen on the track, so the drivers having to contend not only with the twisty infield section but with the headlights of the other cars as well.
Yeah, I expect this to be quite a bit more of a difficult session, especially trying to drive at night, and a lot of drivers benched together at the start. This could be a very interesting race.
And of course last week we saw Kobe Lopez taking the win in the second race, putting him 10th on the grid, and then coming through the grid at Brands Hatch and finishing in the second position. Not quite managing to take the win off Czepelewski, but do you expect something similar this week?
I expect something similar. Hopefully, stay close to him and never know, make it a chance.
So the top 10 positions in this race are reversed from the results of the last race, of course. That means the winner of the last two races, Kobe Lopez, winner of 4 of the last 5 in this championship as well, will be starting 10th on the grid. Katz is starting 9th, and Fletcher will be starting from the 8th position. All three of those drivers looking to come through the field, but if I know anything about the drivers starting in front of them, Rob, that will not be an easy task.
Yeah, definitely won't be an easy task, especially with some of the other drivers out there who had a good race the last time out, like Simon Field and a few others. There's going to be some good hard battles going on there, I suspect.
And the first corner is always a challenge at these tracks, especially considering we've got just short of 40 cars starting out in these races, but we haven't seen a clean first corner yet. Do you think it's more or less likely this time?
I think it's more likely, just the sort of standard way this sort of series goes, actually. I expect a lot of drivers charging hard in the third race to make it quickly, and you never know, there might be problems.
Yeah, you're right, there could well be some significant problems on that first corner. We'll have to find out how that goes in just a moment, as about a minute away from the drivers making their way to the grid. Just a quick mention for this league: if you are an iRacing member and you fancy, you like what you're seeing and you fancy taking part in this league, it is open to all iRacing members, not just those in the UK and I community. You just need to do a search for BTCC in the league system, and you can put in your application to join. Looking forward to welcoming some new drivers like Kai Barker, who is new this week, and Adrian Gibson as well. And of course last week we saw Kobe Lopez join, we saw Czepelewski join, we saw Janowski join, and all of those drivers doing very well in the league at the moment. It is open to all levels of experience as well, so it doesn't matter if you're not a hard charger, pole position every race, you can still get a decent amount of fun out of this. And if you're not an iRacing member and you like what you're seeing, then they are running a promotion at the moment. Your first 3 months are for the price of 1, so it's a better time than ever to get into it. And how would you say this game stacks up compared to other racing games, Rob?
I think it stacks up really well. I mean, what they do to scan the tracks in and make it look very realistic as possible, like all the bumps and the kinks in the track, and the type of cars they're driving, there's such a big selection now. You can really enjoy. Hopefully, you can really enjoy yourself.
Absolutely, especially with the organised racing such as this. The grids have just been getting bigger and bigger each week. This is round 18 of 27, so there's a good few rounds left yet to go. Championship still undecided. Adam Terry not really featuring in the front runners in either of the two races, who is the current championship leader, Rob, so that's going to hurt his championship.
Yeah, definitely going to hurt your championship. So hopefully, you never know, later on that some of the drivers might fall out of other races and might be able to make some more points up that way.
As we're just heading over to the grid now, watching those drivers form up, you can see it's all dark at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The lights on those Kia Optimas are fired up, and so are the drivers. They're ready to go for round 18 with the reverse grid. So that's Chris Shaw taking the pole position, and Richard Wilde just behind him, as the lights go on for another 13 laps round at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's all down to the first corner. A long hold and we're green. I'm going to watch those cars just in the 10th position there as they come round to the first corner, because they're going to be looking to get Up, and Shaw's gone off on the inside, and there's all kinds of carnage, and that's one of the Team 44 drivers, is that Lopez, and there's a massive crash down there at turn 1. All the other cars slowing down there, Rob.
Yes, that's a massive crash there. Looks like Chris Shaw's got some damage to his right front wheel there.
And there's cars all over the place. That is an absolute nightmare as those cars try and get going again. They have got going, but that is all kinds of carnage there. That really wasn't the start we wanted to see.
Yeah, not the start we wanted to see. I suspect something might happen, but not necessarily that big. And we'll try and catch up with the leaders in a second and find out who's leading this race.
And it's Peter Foster there in the pits, looking a little bit sorry in that Pertec racing machine. Meanwhile, the timing screen is still trying to catch up. Cobo Lopez is still running, and Katz is still running as well, although we're not quite sure what position he is in. At the moment he's showing up as 9th on our screens, and that's upset the timing screens, I should say, Rob. That's made it a little bit hard. Oh, and is that Katz just going off there and spinning out of the race? Yeah,
that is Katz going off there, yep.
So what's happened to Andreas Katz? We'll see if we can get a quick replay of that one. It's not happening for us right now, I'm afraid. So we have no replay, but it's all going on at the front of the grid. Richard Wilde is currently out there in front with Ellis Stevens in 2nd and Lopez in 3rd. Field meanwhile is in 4th. Who have we lost then from the front?
And Lopez is just making a move on Ellis right now, I think.
So Cobo Lopez down the inside, no real challenge from Stevens there, takes the 2nd position, up from 10th, Rob, in 2 laps.
Yeah, that's impressive. We thought he might make some good places up in the first few laps.
And we're just having a look now on the timing screens. Chepolevsky caught up in that first lap incident. Who else? Chris Shaw from pole caught up in that. We saw him go off. Grunhill, unfortunately, caught up in that one as well. And Katz is not in the race, so I think Katz has dropped out.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, that.
Stevens now down the inside of Cobo Lopez. We have never seen Cobo Lopez overtaken yet in this championship, and that lap from Stevens. Oh, Field's off.
Field's off.
Big moment for Simon Field there. That is a nightmare for him. As he gets the car going again, but how much damage is he going to have there? We'll just watch a quick replay of Simon Field coming down into the first corner here. And he's already got some damage on the front of that car, or it's probably involved in some other incidents. Just slides it a little bit wide into the barrier, full force on the door of that car. Then it recoils back onto the barrier and rolls over onto its side as we get a nice view of the bottom of that car, which we definitely don't necessarily want to be seeing. But Field's still running now, and he might well have got away with it, Rob.
Yeah, might have well got away with it. I did see a little incident going on behind him after the next couple of corners, try and catch up with that in a second, but he looks like he got a lucky escape there.
Meanwhile, Cobo Lopez is up to 2nd place, 2.1 seconds behind your race leader Richard Wilde for Welch Motorsport. And Adam Terry, the championship leader coming into this meeting, is currently down in the 8th position. He's got Laura Bond in the KX Momentum with a very impressive 9th so far, behind, less than a second behind. And look at this, Malcolm Foster is running in the 10th position. Foster yet to score points in the championship. This is his absolutely best chance of doing so, Rob.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just also looking at it, there's a couple of drivers coming into the pit lane. Simon Field is trying to get some repairs done, and a few drivers leaving as well.
So Simon Field obviously thinking he couldn't get the job done there without getting some repairs. Meanwhile, Foster up to 10th position now. Is that Laura Bond just up ahead? No, it's not. It's a back marker.
Yeah, the back marker, Marcus Norris.
So Norris obviously involved in that first lap incident as well. And so with 4 laps gone, Wilde is still in the lead, but Cobo Lopez is about to mount a challenge on Richard Wilde. He is only a second behind now, so we'll stay with that battle just for the moment. And let's see how Cobo Lopez gets on in that battle with Richard Wilde. He'll want to take that win. He'll want to be the first man to win 3 races in one meeting. And you've got to say, it's on the cards here for Lopez.
Yeah, Lopez just put a good lap in. He's 0.8 of a second behind Richard Ward now.
That's one of the dyno jets just off the track to the left. Lopez has a very drifty kind of style. He's taking these corners almost like he was driving on dirt there, using the full the full width of the road as he comes onto the oval section. Look how close he is behind that Welsh Motorsport car, Richard Wild.
Yeah, very close behind. It's great in this night conditions, and you can see the brakes glowing really hot there. And he's right close behind, gone on the oval section. Might get a bit of a slipstream, but he's just putting out alongside him, trying to find a gap.
So Lopez down the outside of the oval section. That's James Hickson in the RCIB insurance car, just keeping out of their way. Lopez using the draft to try and get as close as he can. And he's going to make the move down the inside now. Right, Wild goes defensive. Lopez on the outside. Wild down into turn 1. Holds the line.
Yeah, both drivers trying to keep the racing going, trying not to get involved too early. We've still got 8 laps to go.
Yeah, and Lopez knows that obviously with another 8 laps he doesn't need to force the issue just yet. He's got the pace as he looks down the inside. He's just trying to put Wild off. I don't think that was a serious attempt at an overtake there, but he's trying to get into Richard Wild's brain and just say, look, I'm right in your mirrors, I am coming through whether you like it or not. And you have to say it's all in his favour. Staying out of that first lap incident was major for Lopez, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Stayed out the incident, now keep him going, because he had a good couple of races so far, and he's going to score some good points here as well.
Just looking down the timing screen then, Stevens is 3rd, Pinella with another potentially good performance in 4th, Terry is up to 5th, Bond is now up to 6th position, Craig Ray up to 7th, and Malcolm Foster has made it up to the 8th position. Lopez looking around the outside then down into turn 1. He won't make that one stick, but might look to cut back. No, just follows Wild as they come up to one of those dyno jet back markers now, which very kindly gets out of the way of these two drivers, not wanting to get mixed up in that.
Yeah, definitely. Apart from these couple of drivers at the front, they're staying quite close together. A lot of the rest of the field is spreading out a little bit now.
So Wild coming round on lap 7. He's no stranger to the front of the field, of course, Richard Wild, doing very well in the championship right now. Been overshadowed slightly by Koba Lopez's impressive performances and loses out a little bit just on that last corner there. Lopez does not capitalise this time round. The Team Club 44 driver will be wanting to take the win, but knows there's a lot of time left in this race yet.
Yeah, I expect Lopez just biding his time a little bit, trying to find his right moment to make a good pass. He's right behind him now.
Looking down the inside this time, tries to force the issue. And look at the pace difference. Oh, and it's crashed! Lopez has hit the side of Richard Wild and they're both spinning out of control. That is a nightmare. What's happened to Lopez there? Lopez is off, he's spun out, there's carnage. Wild gets going again. Let's have another look at that. Again. Lopez, as he comes down the inside of Richard Wild there. Well, he's just seemingly looking to get out of the way of one of the eBay Motors cars just up in front of him there, and that's a big collision. And what's happened to those two drivers? Lopez now in the pits.
Yeah, and so is Richard Wild behind him.
And those two drivers in the pits, well, that's controversial, and that's handed the lead of the race to Ellis Stevens. Ellis Stevens now out there on his own in front with a 10-second gap, and that was dramatic, Rob. That's the first time we've seen, well, I can remember seeing Lopez make contact with anybody, and it looked to be his fault. Yeah,
it looked to be his fault. He dived underneath quite violently towards the corner, and trying to collect him. Not quite sure what happened there, really, or what he was thinking.
No, absolutely, and as we watch Stevens go around, let's see if we can get a better replay of that, because that is significant in a big way. Lopez was looking for the win in this race, and that will now have taken it away from him, so very little chance of him being able to take the win from here. See if we can get that back up on the screen. Just going back a little bit in the replay here. We'll just see if we can get an on board from Koba Lopez as he gets down the inside of Richard Wild. Gets a good draft here. He's down on the apron. Wild's trying to force him down on that apron, trying to give him... yeah, and he's got Wild. He's started to squirrel the car a little bit and just got into the side of Richard Wild there. So that is put paid to the victory for Cobo Lopez, surely, but now running in 6th position.
Yeah, we've still got 5 laps to go here. Ellis is still out with a 10-second lead, and it looks like he might have this all mapped up.
And Malcolm Foster is now up to 7th position and actually challenging Cobo Lopez, as he's got Simon Field and Damian Harrison, the 2 Wix Racing boys, behind him. Outstanding performance for the Pertec Racing of Malcolm Foster. We've not seen him in the points at all in the last 17 rounds, so it's looking good for him if he can hold it together in the last 4 laps. And Cobo Lopez, don't forget, is going to have some damage on that car, unlikely to be able to get all of that damage repaired, so he is pulling away from Malcolm Foster right now, but it'll be interesting to see just what Foster could do in the last 4 laps.
Yeah, definitely, and the other good start I was just going to mention was that Laura Bond is up there in 5th place as well at the moment.
Indeed, very impressive from Laura Bond, just keeping it steady, keeping it on the track, unlike a lot of the drivers, especially in that first corner. Looks to have a rather undamaged car, which is in the minority, I'd say, out on the track there. Oh, and she's just messed up that first corner as she squirrels into the braking zone there. That's allowed. That's dropped off a little bit on the pace. I'm actually showing her as 4th on the timing screen. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Richard Wild just had to spin at the first corner.
So Wild obviously picking up a lot of damage on that car. It's showing as 3rd on your screen. He is down to 5th. And, well, he was in the lead of this race. He didn't look like he could hold off Cobo Lopez, but the last thing Richard Wild was expecting was a big door full of Cobo Lopez car, surely.
Yeah, surely, yeah, that's right. And looks like as long as he can keep it going, you know, he might make a couple more positions up before the end of the race. Still got 4 laps to go.
So those positions will update themselves as we go over the start-finish line. Adam Terry is currently running in 3rd position, not 4th, as you see on your screen. Stevens with a massive gap now, about 8 seconds over Pinella, who is running in 2nd. Terry's running in 3rd, who is another 8 seconds back. Laura Bond is 10 seconds back. And Malcolm Foster has now been pushed down into the 9th position there, so both of those Wix Racing cars getting past him. But he's not done yet. 3 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So Damian Harrison and Simon Field are both past Malcolm Foster. He's holding his own now in the 9th position at the moment. Jonathan Rex is just behind him. Well, I say just behind him, a full 20 seconds down now. Katz is still running, interestingly enough. Katz is ahead of Chepelewski, but he is down in the 13th position, so he will score points in this round, Rob.
Yeah, he will score points in this round. That's why it's all important to try and get repaired and get out there and see if you can get any valuable points, because it might be crucial to the end of the season.
And he's got Craig Ray just up in front, 2 seconds in front, so the 12th is potentially on for Katz at the moment, but by no means guaranteed. But Richard Wild continuing to drop down the field now, and he's in 5th. Cobo Lopez is in 6th position, which I believe will be his worst finish. I mean, that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, Cobo Lopez is only a couple of seconds behind Richard Wild, so he might be able to make another place up there.
And you can just see Richard Wild on the edge of your screen there as we go into the penultimate lap. Cobo Lopez needs to fight off that back marker, and he eases past the Pertec Racing just in front of him. Wild now has a gap of just under a second, so Cobo Lopez, I mean, how would you approach that? You've tried to overtake this guy once, you've smashed him off the track, you're going to try and overtake him again. What's going through your mind at that stage?
Well, you're thinking, you know, I need to get to the end of the race, yeah, it'd be valuable points to make up, but at the same time, you just don't want to make another mistake and ruin your race altogether, especially with 2 laps to go, or last lap now, actually.
And I always say in the BTCC, anything can happen, and anything did happen earlier in this race. Richard Wild was challenged for the lead by Cobo Lopez, who got loose on the apron and slid into Richard Wilde, taking the both of them out. They're not losing a great deal of places, I've got to say, but look at the front of Wilde's car. That is banged up, and the engineers are going to be working late on that one. Cobo Lopez now down the outside. And is that Laura Bond up in front?
Yep. Yeah, that's Laura Bond up in front. So the great scrap going here.
Coming on to the last lap then, Laura Bond trying to fend off both Wilde and Cobo Lopez. Bond's just flickering, perhaps a connection problem there, but let's hope it doesn't get into a situation which might take any of these drivers off the track. Lopez now down the inside of Richard Wilde. We'll stay with that battle just for now. Can Lopez get that position back on the final lap? Wilde holding the inside, just going into the apron section of the oval. And meanwhile, Ellis Stevens takes the win. Pinella will come home in second. Bond managing to get away now as the last lap. There's a drag race on the line, down to the line on the final lap on the oval. Who's going to get it? They've got no draft. Oh, there's a little bit more contact. Lopez and Wilde into each other again. Lopez looking for that. Lopez going around the outside of Bond now on the very last corner. Who's going to get it? This is going to be thousands in it. This is one of the closest finishes I've ever seen in the BTCC. Wilde's probably out of it now. Lopez is round the outside. And, well, who got that?
Well, according to the data screen, it says Lopez got it.
Wow, Cobo Lopez up to 4th place by the end of that race. That's hard to believe. And you've got to say that is harsh for Laura Bond getting caught up in that on the very final lap there. She's moved down to 5th. Richard Wilde has moved down to 6th position. Field coming home with another impressive 7th. But Adam Terry there coming home in the 3rd position is a very good position for him to finish in, considering the problems he's had at this track so far.
Yeah, definitely, and what a great win for Ellis Stevens. I mean, he kept out of trouble and managed to come home with a win.
Yeah, and we didn't see much of Stevens throughout that race, but just straight through with a big gap in the end, right down to the end of the race, and that won't do his championship any harm whatsoever. So that is the end of round 18, and top 3 there, Stevens, Pinella and Terry. It's like the old days. Cobo Lopez can only manage 4th after coming into contact with Richard Wilde. Wilde will be fuming about that one, I imagine. Laura Bond just missing out on that 4th place on the very final lap. Field coming home with an impressive 7th. Harrison in 8th, his best result of the night. And Malcolm Foster, best result of the season, I believe, comes home in the 10th position. Let's see now if we can get a quick word with Malcolm Foster. Malcolm, 9th position.
Unbelievable, eh?
What a race for you. That's your best result of the season.
Ever, yeah. I just managed to, by luck or skill, I don't know, but I managed to miss every single crash there was. Especially on that last lap, may I say, Chris. There was a pile-up at the exit of the infield. I don't know what had happened there, but there were 3 or 4 cars blocking the exit. And I just managed to miss them on the last lap.
Oh, unfortunately, we didn't have the cameras on you at the time or any of that incident, but talk us through that first corner.
That first corner, like the other 2 races, was just absolute mayhem. I think it's far too tight for that number of cars trying to go through there at the speed on cold tyres. So I just took it really slowly on the inside and managed to just stop when everybody was crashing and just drove through the little gaps that were there.
And you kept it out of trouble quite successfully, but how much of a difference did it make during the night rather than the day?
I think it took a lot of people by surprise. I had actually practiced once in the night, so I was quite used to the conditions, and I actually put the wing up a lot, which I don't think a lot of people did.
So you had the extra stability down through the oval, but did that hurt you down the high speed sections?
Not really, no. I mean, people were drafting me, but as they took... I mean, they were drafting in the wrong place, I think. They were drafting on the first part of the straight. They came across me, and I just ducked behind them and drafted them back. So I wasn't really losing any speed as long as you stayed behind them. And then they lost the positions because they're going too fast in the infield.
Well, a fantastic result, 9th position, best of the season from Malcolm Foster. Thanks for joining us, Malcolm, and best of luck going forward to Silverstone.
Yeah, cheers, Chris. Thanks.
Well, you've got to say that was definitely the most exciting race of the evening, as usual, Rob.
Yeah, I thought that'd bring up some big spills and big track racing to see who gets through, but I expect there'd be some incidents like there was, and that's really going to shuffle the championship around a little bit.
Let's see if we can have a word now with Andreas Katz, who didn't manage to have a great result in the last race. Andreas, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, could talk us through that last race, because it wasn't a good finish.
Not at all. It was really a nightmare. I'm really ashamed for that because I destroyed, I think, the race of 3 guys and was not the best.
So what happened from the grid? Because we saw a huge pile-up, but we didn't see what happened to you in that mess.
There was lucky I had a good start and I could pass easily, but I missed I think it was the 5th corner because it was very slippy. And I came a little on the grass because of the night, could not see the track right, and then it happened. And then I thought to take back the car in the pit, and then I lost it on the straight. I really ashamed for that, and that was it.
But round 16 and 17 you scored 2 second positions, so that's done your championship hopes a lot of good.
I'm really glad for that, and because the quali was also not the best today. And I think I wanted too much in the 3rd race, but yeah, I'm glad about the 1st and 2nd, and so. But sorry again for destroying the race from these 2 guys. It's really, really bad for me.
And of course you're the top scoring eBay Motors driver from this evening, but are you looking forward to Silverstone in 2 weeks? Is that a good track for you?
I don't know this track, I have to learn it, but I think it will of course be better with like this track was now. I don't like this track, Charlotte. It's really was a nightmare.
Well, thanks very much for joining us, and congratulations on your 2 second places.
Okay, thank you.
Andreas Katz there from eBay Motors, joining us from the first time. Big thanks to him for being able to join us this time round. Getting a word with some of the top drivers always makes a difference. It's nice to speak to the whole field though, Rob, and we've had a good word with quite a few drivers tonight as well.
Yeah, man, I've had quite a few drivers tonight, and they're very fortunate to let us know what happened to their races, even if they did have a good race or a bad race, and yeah, hopefully some of the drivers can make up for it in the next couple of rounds.
And of course we're taking a week off from the British Touring Cars next week, so the 19th of September will be the World Touring Cars instead. No coverage from BSR TV unfortunately, and the touring cars, the British variety of touring cars, will be back on BSR TV on the 26th of September, and that'll be from Silverstone. So what do you expect that to hold in store?
Well, with Silverstone being quite a lot of long straights rather than being twisty like this track here we just visited, I expect a lot of cars to be really fast. I expect probably some of the guys there like Lopez and that lot to be at the front, but it could be a real good mixture in the midfield.
And it occurs to me, even in that race, when you exclude the crash, we still haven't seen Lopez overtaken in a race.
That's right, still not seen Lopez overtaken the race. We expect him to probably stay up front because he's looking really solid.
He is, you're right, but could only manage 4th. But that you've got to say that is a bit of a miracle 4th position after crashing out quite so violently.
Definitely, I mean, with a lot of drivers close together there, I think he made up some good places just to get a good recovery drive and make up some points there.
And it just goes to show, even at the top of the table, the slightest mistake here, and you not only wipe out your race, but someone else's race as well. Katz there just graciously, in fact, apologising to the drivers that he managed to take out in that race, and Lopez, I'm sure, will do the same with Mr. Wild, who could only finish down in 6th place, so that's not the best result for Richard Wild. But how about Laura Bond coming in 5th in that last race?
Oh yeah, and that last lap battle managed to just hold it all together. Lopez was lucky to just get in front across the line, but still, 5th place, very good finish.
Absolutely. Adam Terry then coming home 3rd in that race as well, but Stevens will have closed up the gap a little bit because Terry didn't have great finishes in this session. The points are a little bit complicated to work out at the moment, but I would say Terry's probably still going to be on top, with Stevens a closer 2nd place. So how's that one going to play out at Silverstone?
I spent that play out earlier on at Silverstone. I was quite impressed with Terry in that race because he started 27th of getting that race to finish all the way up there where he did in third is really impressive. So at Silverstone, I expect him to be going strong as well.
This race, round 18 as well, you said, you know, any driver that keeps out of trouble will be able to finish well, and that just goes to show that it doesn't matter how fast you are, if you can keep it on the track, you're in for a good finish, as evidenced by Malcolm Foster for Pertec. Came home in 9th. Not the quickest driver out there, but definitely one of the most consistent in round 18, and that's really promising to see. Hopefully the run of form from Pertec will continue in subsequent rounds.
Yep, definitely. Pertec looking really, really strong. All their good driver lineups as well.
We've had another 3 very exciting rounds, this time from Charlotte Motor Speedway in the iRacing British Touring Car Championship. Remember, no racing next week, so no racing from the 19th of September, but Thursday the 26th of September we'll be going to Silverstone for rounds 19, 20 and 21. You will be without me, Chris Cohen, but Rob, you'll be taking over for that week.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris, and I'd like to say thanks for inviting me along to your commentary, and thanks for letting me have a chance to commentate on the next round.
Well, we'll see how it goes in Silverstone, because that is looking to be a very exciting round indeed. Hopefully we can match up to the excitement that we've had here this evening. But that's it from BSR TV this evening. Thanks for joining us if you've been watching live, and don't forget all the coverage is available on YouTube after the fact. See you next time.